In the time of Ghaus Azam was a great Imam of the Ahl Sunnah, Imam al-Jawzī, one of the great scholars of Baghdad, of Ahl Sunnah, has written many works, has written a beautiful tafsir of the Quran, but he was very anti-Sufi, did not like Sufis, and he lived in Baghdad Sharif. One day his friend comes from out of Baghdad, and he meets him, and he says to him, al-Jawzī, I heard of the Shaykh al-Qādir Jilani in Baghdad, and I want to visit his gathering, because his knowledge has now spread. His shuhrat, popularity has spread throughout the Muslim world. Imam Jawzī says, why are you going to go to him? The Sufi. What are you going to get from the Sufi? And his friend says, look, I really want to. I've heard about the gatherings. Let me go to the gathering and see and check out the gathering. So he says, okay, let's go. Himself, he's a very highly qualified scholar. Imam Jawzī, he's written so many books. They say that if you divide the books that he has written over the amount of years he lived, he would be writing 2-3 books a week. That's his caliber. He enters the gathering of Ghaus Azam. He's sitting with his friend somewhere in the corner, and they're sitting together. In the majlis of Ghaus Azam, a Qari would stand, he would recite some verses of the Quran, then Ghaus Azam would then begin to deliver the tafsir. So the Qari recited the verses. Ghaus Azam then stood and gave a tafsir to this verse. Imam Jawzi's friend nudged him. He said, look at the tafsir. Subhanallah. Imam Jawzī said this famous tafsir. Everyone knows this. Then Ghaus Azam gives a second tafsir, gives a third tafsir, gives a fourth tafsir, gives a fifth tafsir. He gives 13 tafsirs of one verse of the Quran. How many tafsirs? 13 tafsirs of one verse of the Noble Quran. Imam Jawzī, when he heard this, he looks at his friend and he says, maybe I've been mistaken. Maybe this is no ordinary person. 13 different sciences from one verse. Imam Jawzī looks at his friend and he says, maybe I've misunderstood. I don't think I've really understood tasawwuf properly. Because if a Sufi is like this, then tasawwuf is good. Then Ghaus Azam carries on and he looks at the gathering and he says, these were the tafasir of the outward sciences. Now let's begin the tafsir of the inward sciences. He gives a 14th tafsir, he gives a 15th tafsir, he gives a 16th tafsir, he gives up to 25 different tafsirs of one verse of the Quran. In the gathering, Imam Jawzī, of such a high caliber of ilm, in the gathering of Ghaus Azam, Jawzī rahimahullah ta'ala stood up and he himself went into Wajd. A man who was against tasawwuf and Sufism himself went into Wajd on listening to the tafsir of Ghaus Azam radiyallahu ta'ala anhu. These were the gatherings of Ghaus Azam.